video is.
Yeah. The Olympics are in 5 days.
Yeah.
I, as everyone knows, love the Olympics. This is not going to work. Like, it's all fucked
Yeah, what's the
right
deal?
now.
Like, they are not
And this
set
happens
up.
every time. They happened in Sochi in Russia last 2 years ago. It always happens like
They can't get their
plumbing
shit
doesn't
together in
work, or
time.
there's shit literally running from the walls in this building. Like, it's all fucked up. But
like, they build it so quick.
Like, yeah, exactly. And the chief is bitter, and they had no time and money, and it's all fucked up.
Oh, funny. The money doesn't get to the people
Really?
building the stuff.
Really,
In the communist
countries?
if there was like an Olympic island,
How's
where
that work?
it was always just there, or you know what I'm saying? Like, it just doesn't work moving from place to place to place to place. Let's just. I love the idea of the Olympics, but man, this is getting crazy. So hopefully this does well.
Yeah, you know,
I've heard that they're like trying to flush all the drug dealers out of Brazil for the Olympics, but they don't
then
have
how
anywhere.
are the
They don't have anywhere to go, so basically they just keep like flushing them out of one town, and then they go down the road to the next town, and then they flush them out. But every town they go to next, like all the drug dealers from this town are bunched up with the drug dealers from that town, and so on and so on. It's feuding, but then every town gets more and more criminals in it.
How are any of the Russian athletes going to place if they move all the drug dealers out
Good one.
of the pavilion?
That was
So Russia's like kicked out of the Olympics, right?
Yeah.
Because drug use is so rampant.
Yeah.
Like one person?
Well, it's like she went independent.
Yeah, yeah.
Without she renounced her nation.
Yeah, you can't be a Russian athlete.
But they're gonna kill her.
Yeah.
And it makes you think about like all the you know, Russia's like one of the main competitors in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Like America and Russia are the best. And sometimes you look back at the history, there are these moments where Russia like won in events. Like Russia beat us in basketball back in the 70s, and then that's never happened again. So it's like, okay, well, were they doping then? Like,
no, I think everyone's doping now.
I think everybody was doping back then too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was a different type of doping.
You know what I find is interesting, that a lot of sports now I
actually don't know much about doping.
They take your blood and they have it on file forever, and they can test it whenever they want with other new tests they get, like in the future, to see like in the future they can say, oh, Tony Gwynn was doping in 1984, even though that's not true. But you know, they could do that with that sample of blood. Like you'll know.
Well, yeah, it's like, why do all these guys need testosterone replacement therapy? It's because they jack their systems with, you know.
I actually on YouTube
drugs
recently, I
back in the
watched a
day.
YouTube weird documentary about steroids, and there was a quote in it that blew my mind, which was a 20-year-old guy. I hope this doesn't encourage people to take steroids, by the way. This is not an endorsement, but what they said was
because they work.
A 20-year-old guy who takes steroids, eats junk food, and works out 2 or 3 times a week can best the greatest clean athlete on earth. Which means you could be the greatest athlete at your sport, and fucking like dude who eats McDonald's every day and works out a third as much of you can take steroids and whoop your ass.
Strength-wise, yeah, maybe, but there's some skill involved, and depending on what sport you're talking about.
Well, yeah, but if it's an
and
endurance sport,
Yeah.
like running or cycling, or a strength sport like weightlifting or shot put, there's a lot of sports.
That shit works, and if your job is to be the fucking best at that specific luge or skiing or fucking bicycle riding or whatever, that's your job. That's your one thing. You take every advantage.
But
so like
what they said is like you will die before 40.
Oh,
if you keep on it,
if you do steroids, like
really bad for your
it's
system.
like bad for your heart.
Ken Caminetti, he's dead.
Every wrestler, every pro wrestler doesn't make it past. I mean, the Iron Sheik's still kind of going, but what do they average out at? Like 40s?
Yeah.
Eric?
Yeah.
You know what though? What the documentary said though is that steroids are so stigmatized. There's never really been like research done on it. The only people who do steroids are the people who do it illegally. So like
and they're willing to take the risk.
Yeah, so there's like really famous cases of people who have died, you know, have gotten illnesses, do their steroids, and they still swear like there's a safe way to do steroids, and people kind of mock them, but it's like these are the people doing steroids that they would, in theory,
it's
know.
all in like the cycle. You
Yeah.
can't just be on it. You have to like regulate the cycle, like your hormone. And it's like it's a science. And there's a reason why UFC athletes get paid like millions of dollars and then still get popped for it
Constantly.
Yeah, but they're getting popped for it more now than ever. But it's still like 10% maybe. It's a super low number.
Yeah.
Because everyone's cycling and everyone has all this money to pay all these doctors to do all this other shit, where you're not just shooting up and shooting up and shooting up and then dying at 38.
But they said that the number one demographic of people using steroids is amateur
Oh,
people in their 30s.
kids can get that shit.
No,
like
but
in high
it's
school
like
probably for
people
football.
it's people like our age who are, you know, want to look good but don't maybe have the time to work out.
Jersey Shore
or dedicate
guys.
to it. Yeah,
Like
it's just like
gym rat dudes who look like they're on steroids are the
it's-
guys that are
it's-
on
yeah,
steroids.
it's not professional athletes.
Yeah.
It's this dude off the street who just wants to be muscular for just aesthetic reasons.
And there's a certain look to like really puffy, soft, doughy builds on guys that you could tell like that's fucking weird. Like that's not natural.
No, I think those are the guys who don't use steroids.
What do you mean?
I feel like the dudes who are puffy, you know, genetics plays into how like ripped you can get. So
Yeah.
some guys can't get all veiny without the steroids.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I watched one documentary on YouTube,
Here we
so
are
now I'm
discussing
a
it.
qualified expert.
Obviously.
I watched
Well,
the documentary a while ago.
we're athletes, so we don't need steroids per se. We use like caffeine and nootropics
Yeah,
for our elite.
I use
This is
nootropics, too.
real
Vitamin B.
talk.
No
Lots of
fructose.
vitamins.
I don't
Fructose
fuck
free.
Fructose.
Fructose.
Give Sean an alpha brain real quick.
Oh my
Yeah, do you
God.
want another Alpha Brain,
Holy
Sean?
Shit.
Some
Garrett
other-
gave me an Alpha Brain in
I
Boston.
dosed him. Fucking
Hey, my friend was telling me about Alpha Brain. She was like, yeah, I take Alpha Brain before I work out. And you know how when you miss a beat on your working out, it's like, vroom. When an Alpha Brain, it's like, vroom, 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 vroom. And she's like, and after my workouts, my skin feels tingly.
Yeah, Garrett honestly sold me on it by like saying like, you know, you'll be able to like formulate a sentence better. I'm like, oh, I'll take it. Sure, whatever I can do.
literally just repeating
What-
things they say in the commercial.
Whatever I yeah. So I took 2. Is that what I took?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
should only taken one probably.
Yeah,
I take
you-
like 2 or
He
3.
he gave me
OD'd, man.
He gave me 2.
Drug
and
user.
our last day in Boston, I was like wired and like
Tweaking out.
fucking freaking out.
We were
and, like,
shopping.
mad at everything.
Yeah.
It was
Oh,
fucking
dude.
miserable.
We were shopping around and like getting
Classic
coffee.
tweaker.
We went to a sneaker store and then we had to get to the airport.
went-
Oh,
the fountain.
that explains the sneaker store incident
I
where
didn't
you're
know.
like, fuck this fucking store. Yeah, I get it. It's a
When
cool
did you
fucking
take
door.
it, though?
Fuck you
Yeah,
guys.
Before, yeah.
You're roiding.
Because you were
Roid
kind of
rage.
freaking out at the airport. You were not
Yeah,
feeling
because
good.
it was like 5 hours later. I still didn't feel good.
What were you just speeding?
Like 5 hours of this
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Ugh.
I had to go into a fountain. I walked to a fountain. I just felt awful.
I need to cool
I
off.
hated it.
Fountain.
I hated it.
I like the
Alpha Brain was not for me.
Yeah.
I need something.
like
What's the
those.
opposite of that? I need that.
Beta brain.
I need Beta Brain.
You need to drink some tea
Omega brain.
with melanin in it.
melatonin. Melatonin. Yeah.
Melanin's the stuff in your skin, right? You need to drink
You
that.
need to drink melanin.
I didn't drink that.
What happens if you drink melanin?
What was that movie
Does
where
your tongue get dark?
movie they used to play on Comedy Soul
Soul
Man?
It was Soul Man.
Soul Man on Comedy Central used to come on
Yeah.
all the time
Yeah.
after
What is
school.
Soul Man?
Soul Man was a movie, an 80s comedy. Leslie Nielsen was about the biggest name I know in it. Oh, voice of Darth Vader.
James Earl
See,
Jones.
Thomas Howell
He was
is
a
white
teacher.
guy,
Yeah.
and then gets into college
Yes!
being a black guy.
Yep.
He takes an experimental tanning supplement. It's a
Oh
pill,
my god.
and he gets a black scholarship.
80s movie, man.
I've heard
But then-
that Black Like Me is a book about that pill.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a famous book about this white guy who took something to darken his skin and he went undercover in the South as a black man in the 60s just to write about all the segregation he experienced, or,
Yeah.
prejudice he experienced.
This is a
Wow.
comedy, but
Yeah,
it has
that book is not a comedy.
This has that message. This wraps up that message where it's like, oh, I understand the black experience. Well, no, you don't,
No.
because you can stop taking this pill. And
Yeah, you
Yeah.
don't
obviously,
get
like
it.
and James Earl Jones is of all people the one to tell you that. But it's probably, I don't know if it's appropriately funny anymore, but it was in
Maybe it's
the
even
90s.
funnier.
Maybe
Because
it's like,
cringe humor is so big right now.
and like they always say like, oh, you couldn't make Blazing Saddles today. It's
Oh,
one
yeah.
of
No,
those.
yeah,
It's
you
like
can.
you couldn't make that movie today.
Sure.
Well, you just shouldn't make Blazing Saddle. You couldn't make Blazing Saddle today, not because of the N word.
You should.
Because the last half of that movie devolves into like stream of conscious.
Bedlam?
I just
I
watched that
love
recently,
how
and
it does
I
that.
didn't know. I couldn't fathom.
I haven't seen it.
Song
I
and
don't know
dance
what the fuck was
numbers and
happening.
shit.
Yeah,
It
imagine
gets
a
Monty
movie.
Python, you know.
Imagine a movie today for 45 minutes, just fucking like
It's like watching Adult Swim.
bizarre shit. Yeah, it's worse than Adult Swim. No. Imagine like Adult Swim at 2 a.m. the movie.
Oh, Aqua Teen Hunger.
Yeah, there you go.
Maybe.
Well,